I was not ready for that to end. How you doing? Thanks for listening, watching, doing whatever you're doing. Before we get on with the show, obviously go and buy merchandise. Links in the description. Become a channel member. Do the Patreon thing. If we do it, I stop having to say it. So we're all happy. We're going to do the show, talk about Mandela Effect stuff tonight. I have a particular reason for bringing this up. I hope you enjoyed Ollie's show the other on Friday with Lou from Lou Reviews. I've watched half of it. I thought it was really good. Well, really long, didn't it? Really long one, nearly a 3-hour show from Oliver, the likes of which have never been seen. Anyway, David, my man, how are you doing?
I'm still regretting my decision earlier to do my own plumbing.
I wouldn't undertake such a thing. I'm pretty handy at stuff. I'm pretty handy at making things and doing things.
Me too.
But plumbing is, it's basically fucking astrophysics, isn't it? I've just swore, and it's 2 minutes in.
Shitting all over everything. No, man, it's not that. Like, I've done lots of different things. I mean, unfortunately, in my life that were in trades. I can do things. I'm capable, but I can also afford just to hire someone. Like, I'm okay. I'm a blessed man, and I get a quote, and I'm like, nah, man, I'll do that myself. And I do. I mean, I got it done. I was just like, I would have paid that guy twice what he was asking. Like it's something wrong with me fundamentally. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll learn.
So, Mandela Effect, Dave. How much, if any, things, do you know about the Mandela Effect?
You mean apartheid?
No. Yeah, as in the changing of history.
Oh, no. Wait, apartheid.
That's, I suppose, it's the changing of people's futures.
That's history. Future history. Yeah, I'm aware of it. Yeah, we've talked about it before on past shows.
Yeah. See, like, I've 9 times out of 10, I see these things. I think, no, this feels like misremembered stuff. I can understand how it could be like misremembered stuff. But then I see other things, and I go like, oh, hang on a second. And I saw this the other day. Now, it wasn't this. Obviously, with doing this show, I've now found myself quite acquainted with Reddit conspiracy. So what is it? Subreddit? Is that what we call it? I'm not really a Reddit person, but
I'm not a Reddit person either.
I get alerts when people say wacky things on Reddit, and I read it. Go, oh, that's a good idea for a show. Stick that in the brain bank. So anyway, somebody had a picture or a video of the old Sasquatch video. You know, the one walking across the river.
Yeah.
And they had it there because it was like a new sort of stabilized and zoomed in one. Now I'm going to bring the picture of said Yeti up here. I don't remember the Yeti being a woman.
I do.
Do you? Do you remember it having boobs?
Not like that.
No, I don't. And that I watched this video, and it wasn't even there as like a man. But I've been back and I've watched the like the original video now, and sure as shit, that Yeti now looks like hang on, Yeti snow ones. Is there a difference between a Bigfoot and a Yeti? I don't like. I'm all for inclusivity, and I don't want to like miss Yeti somebody. But yeah, it just got me thinking about the whole Mandela effect, and like my big one is the C3PO leg.
That's for me as well. Yeah,
that's a real problem for me.
Yeah.
So I thought we could start this show. I mean, play along at home, but I thought we could start by doing a tiny little quiz. So we shall put our age for what 65 plus. We don't want to give them too much real information.
Yeah. But then you should change that. The key, folks, is eat a lot of carrots. However you get them in your body, doesn't matter. It's carrots.
I don't know where the picture's gone for this one, but Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes, Dave?
Tunes, Toon.
Toon.
Huh.
Right. Okay. Money bags with a monocle or without a monocle?
Monocle.
I agree. These. I would have agreed with both of these. Money man has a monocle. Ford with the curly thing. That looks a bit like the Disney thing, or without the Disney thing.
Without the Disney thing.
I agree. Without the Disney thing, the Ford logo does not have a loop. That is an American chocolate bar, Kit Kat wrapper, but I would still go Kit Kat with
the space,
with the dash.
Yeah.
So Kit Kat. This one's for you. That never made it this far across the pond. Is that the Bernstein Bears or the? I can't read
Bernstein.
that.
Steen. Stein.
Stein.
Yeah.
The Flintstones or the Flintstones with 2 T's.
1 T.
1 T. I agree. Obviously, famous one here. This one always gets me. As far as I'm concerned, it is Luke, I am your father, not no, I am your father. Even the actor, when he quoted this line years later,
yes, Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, he said he was reading the script, and he said when I got to the line, Luke, I am your father, I thought to myself, this has to be a lie. Like, how is this going to play out? Because he didn't believe his character would end up being Luke Skywalker's father. But yeah, even the actor thought, when he was talking about it, said, Luke, I am your father.
We're probably getting all of these wrong.
Probably. Fruit of the Loom with a big coney thing, without a coney
with the cornucopia.
Thing.
Absolutely.
With it.
With the cornucopia.
I will go with you because I don't really know. So Loom has a cornucopia. That looks like an American thing.
Nothing like little Oscar Mayer wieners.
Is this a sausage brand? Is it?
Sure.
Which one are you picking?
I don't know. We go either way. Let's go with Meyer.
Meyer. Right. Done.
We failed miserably.
So it is Looney. It is Looney Tunes, not Looney Tunes, which doesn't make sense. Mr. Monopoly does not have a monocle, even though I remember him having a monocle. That's wild.
What?
That's right. That's ridiculous. Like,
no, the monocle thing is absolutely. So is the Looney Tunes.
But the Ford logo, right? Anybody in the chat here? Yeah. Does anybody in the chat think of the Ford logo with a loop? Because I do not. That's weird. A Kit Kat apparent. Oh no, we got Kit Kat right. Did we get Kit Kat right? No, Kit Kat wrong.
Kit Kat wrong. That doesn't make sense.
John Lay says Ford has always had the curly thing. We are from different realities.
It's just telling me that I'm not an NPC. This is what this is telling me.
Yeah,
they updated the Matrix, and I'm an original creation, and I didn't get updated with
it. Bernstein Bears, again, I don't know. It didn't get made across the pond. This is right. I've never seen this one as a Mandela Effect. So I'm really interested whether we fuck this one up too, because I think Flintstones with 1 T.
Yeah. Meet the Flintstones.
No. Get fucked. Obviously, we know we've got
My whole life is a lie.
one
Yeah,
wrong.
that one I know. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's the more common. And
No cornucopia on Fruit of the Loom.
that's bullshit.
I think we were pretty much undecided with this one, but yeah, right. That's my little.
Yeah,
that was
going
the
either way.
little quiz. So yeah, right. 4. I think that's really weird that we didn't get a single one right.
I'm telling you. There are, I've argued this forever. There's NPCs in this, whatever this is. There was some kind of major update, and the original creations you couldn't update it. You couldn't alter the code, but you could for all the NPCs that are just existing. That's what I'm going to stick to.
That's right. Here. That's so fucking strange to me because I didn't know this one either. That is all manner of wrong in my head. All
it doesn't even
manner
look
of
right. That
wrong.
if you pointed it to me, I'd be like, oh, that's fake.
Yeah.
And you know what the hilarious thing is? Until very recently, my wife and I only owned Ford vehicles.
My dad's had Ford.
Since like 07 to 08 till like we've gone through multiple vehicles, but they've all been Ford because they didn't take the bailout money. And I was like, I'm going to support Ford.
Yeah, my dad, the first car I remember my dad having was a Ford Escort. He's had, and then he went through a stage of having 3 different Ford Mondeos.
First car I had was a Ford Escort.
Was it? Like that. I'm a big Formula One fan. Ford has always been a big, well, relatively big. It's had peaks and troughs. We'll say Ford Cosworth in Formula One, but I think like that's let's just put Ford logo.
I have one of my expeditions outside. I feel like I need to go look at it.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's obvious. It's everywhere, so we have to be wrong.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I'm wrong.
I don't feel like that. This might be. I mean, obviously, some of these ones are fan ones now, but still, I mean, that was on the front of a fucking car. This one has weirded me out more than C-3PO's leg. It's not at all. Is this by years? Have they got years here? That'll be interesting if we can look at the years. Logo history. Can you imagine? Oh no! Oh wow, that's interesting. It's 404. You can't get it. Can you imagine like how fucking ridiculous a human being you have to be to be a regular visitor of logohistory.net?
I don't know. There's a lot of car guys who are way into that, and they're probably like, absolutely, this is okay. I mean, we could be wrong on that. It doesn't. I don't think that's right, but apparently it is. And
I mean, that's photograph.
It is what it is.
I mean, yeah. Right. That's
we are
strange.
Wrong. So I always felt like I didn't belong here, and now I know why. This isn't my universe. Something.
Well, the thing is, did you remember the original the Nelson Mandela dying in prison? Because this came about through there was a conference of some variety in 2010, and it was like the room was split by people that thought he died in prison, and then people that remember. Yeah. Now, I obviously I am I know he was released from prison, and I remember the only real memory of Nelson Mandela I have is I was confused when I was speaking to my dad because I was only a kid, and I was saying I don't understand why if somebody's in prison, why people are sad, why people demanding him to be released, because he must have done something wrong if he'd gone to prison. That was just the way my child mind works. Yeah. That was the way my child mind had worked. So see, someone up there says David Bowie had blue eyes. I always remember David Bowie had different colored eyes. Sorry,
he had heterochromia. He has different colored eyes. Yeah.
That so. Yeah, I saw. Oh no, the color of his eyes are being debated now in the chat. Sorry, I just got sidelined because of a bit of a David
no
Bowie
problem.
fan.
That's he is responsible for the name of Black Star Paranormal.
He is. Yeah, great song, great album, Black Star. Such a good album. In fact, I'm sure as we get into this subject, we'll have some other stuff which involves like what I would think is no, well maybe, but I mean, I think you can get Ford cars in any sort of chrome, Dave.
Yeah, definitely. You just got to pay extra for that package, right?
Yeah.
See, that's why my truck's a GMC. Sorry. Yeah.
Fuck, I've lost myself. Yeah, so they I remember him being released. I think I remember him being released because I don't remember him being dead. So maybe, but I was very young.
David Bowie?
No, Nelson Mandela. But yeah, what about yourself?
I remember him getting released.
Mm-hmm.
And apartheid fallen. I remember that. Yeah, I'd never thought he died. I was like, really? People think he died? Huh. And then the Bernstein Bear thing came out. I was like, no, it's that. And they're like, no, look at these books. I'm like, what? The Ford thing I didn't know, and the C3PO thing, I'm adamant that it was never red. He was always all gold.
Well, it's silver, isn't it? It's a silver leg.
Silver, yeah.
The red leg is a real thing. I think that's something from like one of the prequels or something like that. But the silver leg, I mean, I had the toys. I still have a Star Wars money box in my mother's house with an all gold C3PO. And I know people could turn around and say that they would just be. Maybe they were saving on plastic and stuff like that. But we're talking back in the day where these toys were hand painted.
But they were well made toys.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do like the little dots, little red and silver dots on like Darth Vader's breastplate, you're probably just gonna paint a different colored leg if the guy's got a different colored leg. It seems like a glaring omission for a toy to leave out if that was the case. If any that's another good one that I'll pull that comment up.
I can't see the comments.
No, I've got them. Sorry. I remember Sinbad in a movie called Shazam. Yes. I 100% remember that as well. That was like
he was the genie who came out. Yeah. And people are like, nope, never happened.
Yeah.
What?
So then the answer would be, the question would be is if I know people put this down to like misremembering of things. That's fine. But would so many people be split 50-50 on things? That's the weird thing.
Yeah, it's that they pick one or the other. There's not other variations.
Yeah.
Seems strange. But again, for misremembering, man, I've had a lot of concussions in my life. Like, kind of is what it is. I got to be coming up on my magic number at some point. I just need to take it easy. Everybody has a magic number of concussions they can get in their life. You can only have that many. And
it's a shame
that number is.
It's a shame I didn't have the Alien Addict login for this show. Otherwise, we could have continued to do like little surveys as we went on for people in the chat.
All these occupied, bound and gagged.
Yeah, our stream's working really weird because there's obviously people watching in the chat, but our view count is at 0. That's clearly bullshit.
Did you get Star for swearing and bringing up Matrina Crow?
Oh no!
And your power just went out.
I don't. Hang on. Can you see me?
No.
There we go. The HDMI cable fell out of the laptop. Sorry. So I mean, all roads lead to CERN when it comes to the Mandela effect, don't they? I don't think there's. I haven't. I won't call it like the credible explanation. It's not like Mandela effect, obviously something to do with the Large Hadron Collider, but it does seem to be the only theory, doesn't it? The theories are it's just bullshit and you're stupid, or we've been fucking with timelines.
I think it's an easy scapegoat. What if it's something more complicated than that?
That's you're right, but I think it's interesting how this conspiracy theory seems to have no conspiracies about it.
Well, yeah.
No,
certain things you can't talk about, like flat Earth.
But it's true. But even that,
I'm
right?
not a flat earther.
No. But the whole flat Earth thing, there is many flat Earth conspiracies that you can
tons.
There's different like models of it. I remember the craziest one I heard was a British guy talking about it, and he doesn't think it's flat. He doesn't think it's a disc. He thinks the realm of that it is the same as when you see a projection like for flight paths, so you get like the two-dimensional like A4 projection.
Yeah,
he thinks the realm just essentially recalibrates itself if you go too far, and it brings you to the other side. So you're not necessarily going around anything, you're falling off and appearing back over here.
That's crazy people.
That's pretty wild. I love the idea.
Than I go, but whatever.
I love the idea that essentially all he's gone is, so someone said, right, well, if it's flat, how like, as in like a sheet of paper, like how do people get to the other side? And you just gone magic, and they've gone magic. But the CERN thing seems to be the prevailing conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
got turned on 2010. Oh no, 2008 wasn't it? 2008 we fired up for the first time.
I believe so. Yeah, but I mean the thing is, there's a lot of particle accelerators. That's the biggest one anyone talks about, right? That's publicly known. That's for public use. Biggest known one.
Let's be honest. There is 100% a particle accelerator as big or bigger than that in China, without doubt.
Oh, and in the U.S., absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And there's other things I'm definitely not qualified to speak on because I don't understand it. But other means of particle acceleration, but it's not a circle. It's like a direction. It's a direct, and they go down. And I don't know. For science, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy, man. Those are for people with big IQs. So, at least triple-digit IQs, not double digits like me. Yeah. So that's the only thing. I think it's an easy scapegoat. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean it's right. I mean, hell, I don't know. I don't know.
See,
it's my go-to response.
The Uber says companies allow side companies to make a copy, but have to change certain things. I.e., Monopoly, Monoglass guy, founder of Monopoly, didn't have
monoglass character. Side companies have monoglass character. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense in this, this updated version of reality. It's good that somebody got that software update.
I think I'd have noticed that though. I love Monopoly. I've loved Monopoly since I was a kid.
Yeah, I love Monopoly too, but it's actually banned from all the holiday get-togethers in my house. Things get real here.
I mean, the thing would be is if we can just go to Monopoly logos, and find one with a monocle. It's not.
I remember playing Monopoly on Super Nintendo, and I swear the guy had a monocle there.
You see,
'Cause
I'm
yeah.
sure I remember seeing the old one like this, like the
Yeah.
like that would have been like my first Monopoly board.
Yeah. It's kind of weird too. They made a game that promotes Monopoly. Like monopolies. Like what you want is a monopoly. What you got to go for is a monopoly. Why? 'Cause you can screw everyone else. You can bankrupt them and own their stuff. It's a great game. It's kind of dark, huh?
Yeah, hang on a second. I just want to show a comment if I can. Martin R on Aussie Tube, your show is still upcoming, not live. That's an effect.
Boom. Well, we might be
censored
banned
in Australia. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm on a list or two. I'm definitely on a list there. Passport not acknowledged.
There's a strange logo, but I've never seen that before. But I feel like going through the amount of these we are doing, there would have been one we'd have come across. He's got sunglasses.
I've never seen that one.
I've never seen that either. Oh,
I swore he had a monocle.
That's Business Insider, the math behind McDonald's monopoly. So I'm guessing
and the scam that was.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's somebody's done that for an article. There we go. Bottom of the page, 0 monocles. It's really weird. I mean, it's got to be now. I thought this is one of those conspiracies when it first came around that would just disappear.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to.
If anything, things seem to keep adding up and getting stranger.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, that CERN or things like that are definitely easy scapegoats, and maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand.
This is interesting. If you put in into the search Monopoly monocle, you get a load of things that are due to like the Mandela Effect thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there isn't. They're not. You know, if they're not, there's Fear the monocle, so that's obviously that's not real. If the monocle ones had been like he said, like the thought was that they were like a third
competitor
thing,
or something. Yeah.
The competitor ones would have come up here.
Yeah, they're not.
But there's still the only.
Wait, go up just a little bit. I'd say they had a costume to be the Monopoly guy, like laid out, and there was a monocle in it. There it is, with the money bag, the mustache, bow tie, and hat, monocle. That's the Monopoly guy, except there is no monocle.
No. It's so bizarre. See, do you know what the funny thing is? I'm so sure he's got a monocle. Sometimes I look at the picture. I look at a picture of him, and I think he's got a monocle on. You know, like the white on white ones. I'm thinking I'm just not seeing it. So bizarre.
So that's why we're good friends. We're from a similar
Maybe that's
reality.
it. Yeah, I mean,
or maybe our consciousness didn't get updated with everyone else's. We got missed for some reason. It was the shrooms.
See that Barbie's just turned around there and said, both exist, Lee, but one is legit Monopoly. But I had legit Monopoly boards.
No, you know, I think he says the ones we're looking at are legit logos. The third-party company logos or knockoffs are the ones with the monocle, and we didn't look for those, or they didn't populate, but they exist.
Yeah,
I think is that what you're saying, Uber Barbie? I don't know, and I'm sure he's right. You know, like it that makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think, especially given the topic, I feel that searching Monopoly logo monocle would have pulled one of those up. It would have, it would have pulled one of the Monopoly ones up. I mean,
See, for me, it's the Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia in the back.
Yeah.
Because I remember them having like a cartoonish commercial, and the cornucopia was its own character.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh no, it was never there.
But quickly to the Monaco knockoff monocle.
Yeah.
But I never had a knockoff Monopoly board. I live on an island of like 80,000 people. We have like 2 toy shops. When we haven't really got the places where I'd have had like a fake Monopoly board.
Yeah, and I stole my Monopoly boards from rich people's houses.
I
didn't have anyone buy me toys.
So like I say, that all roads kind of lead to CERN, and that's a pretty strange place.
CERN's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you think of the stuff that's happened there, I don't think mentioning CERN would be right without playing this beauty of a viral clip from years ago. It's so I remember this whole CERN sacrifice thing coming out.
Yep. And everyone was like, it was staged. It's like, CERN was cool with that?
1 sec.
Yeah.
Well, they just didn't tell him. Look at all those windows. All the people. Like, I don't know, man.
And even that, you would think as well that. So I don't know. Do people live on CERN campus? Is it like that?
What? Is Kali there? Yeah, she's there.
No.
There.
Sheba, isn't it?
Sheba is a Sheba. Thank you.
Goddess of destruction, and in the
pose, not always a bad thing.
The pose she's in there is the dance of destruction. I think this here is where the guy freaks out and disappears. He makes a run for it in a minute. But you think there'd be security there? That statue is the main entrance, I believe. It's not like the main entrance of CERN's going to be unmanned, is it?
I don't know, man. All the places with particle accelerators here have a lot of security, and they don't really have senses of humor, at least enough of a sense of humor to allow something like that to happen. That's here. I mean, that's there. I don't know. Maybe they're more cut-ups.
If they don't have a sense of humor, how about interpretive dance? No. Because I've never seen this before, and I found this during my thing. If this is too loud, people tell me I'll turn it down. It's okay? That seems okay. So this is the advert for the Apple TV documentary about CERN. I hope we don't get demonetized for the music because it was an advert. But here, if I take us back,
I'll just mute it. It's fun to watch people dance.
I could just music, yeah.
Yeah, no music.
So this dance they're doing here is
the
dance the dance of destruction, Shiva's dance.
Well, let's see how good they are.
And this continues later on.
Seems a bit like cultural appropriation to me, but whatever.
It does. But then you find like parts like this.
Why is he in a desert?
How weird. See, they're continuing the dance of destruction here. It's just so weird. This is... That's weird. I hadn't seen that before.
The watch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Symbolism of the watch changing. That's a man doing the dance, the dance of destruction. Did I say it was?
Yeah.
In the middle of a large circle, which I would say was symbolize the Large Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
We seem to be falling to hell now. That's not ideal.
Depends on what you're into, I guess. Looks kind of like an eye.
Does look like
You know,
an
I've
eye.
always thought that the CERN, when you look at it from the side, and I get it, it's for the magnetic rings and the acceleration and stuff and the fields, that it just always looked like an eye. Like a giant eye.
Stargate, all those things.
Whatever.
You know,
Whatever. Did you ever see Event Horizon?
normal-
Worked out great for them, man. Worked out great for them. You know, it's like they're one of the U.S. labs here. They had made an announcement that they were trying to burst into alternate dimensions using, particle physics and beam lasers and whatever else. And all I could think was, like, my mind immediately goes to The Mist, Stephen King's The Mist. Did you ever see that or read it? Yeah. It doesn't end well, man.
No.
What are you doing? Stop that. It's like, well, we're going to learn so much. Cool. What are you going to learn? I don't know till we do it. Man, the fact that you don't understand how bad of a reasoning that is hurts. It hurts.
This is a great comment here from John. Performance art, no real physicist or technician would opt for this. It's silly. How can you take CERN seriously if they're not around?
I'm with them on that.
Yeah.
Sadly, I know nuclear guys, right? And like nuclear physicist guys and the nuclear physicist safety guys. And I mean, they have senses of humor, but something like this, that is not up their alley. Not only that, I at least the ones I know, all right, so my N is, X, whatever. They're not really even appreciative of arts like that. Like, that's a silly waste of time.
Well, I mean, I think, especially like interpretive dance, if you want to talk about left brain, right brain stuff, like the application of science and the creation of interpretive dance, it's pretty polarizing, isn't it? I feel that should be a polar opposite thing.
Yeah, you would think that someone who's really into an interpretive dance and like that's their passion, like calculus isn't their.
I don't see strippers.
Suit.
I've never seen a stripper and go, I wonder what her theory.
I should get her to do my taxes.
Yeah. Like, yeah. What's your degree in?
But it's a hard science, right? Chemistry? You're a chemistry chick? Yeah, I could tell. I could tell by you shake your ass. Yeah. Yeah, probably not. I don't know, man.
Like when we were talking to Max when he came on the show. Was that last year? Or was that 2 years ago? It feels like a long time ago.
It wasn't 2 years. It was about a year ago.
It was about a year ago.
Yeah.
We like towards the end of that show. If people haven't watched that, if listen to that, if you go back on the Musty Audio podcast feed, I think it was just called Interview with a NASA Engineer. It was split over 2 parts because it was quite a long.
Yeah, he's technically a contractor for NASA, but he's also contracted for DOE, DOJ, DARPA. Like, he's brilliant.
Yeah, I say this. Yeah. I say this a lot, but that this is one of my favorite shows. But that is genuinely top three. I think that the Scientologists that came on, like they're two of my favorite podcasts I've ever done. But when we were talking to him, and we were saying like that, it's just strange that this symbolism seems to pop up in science all the time, even if it's just naming. Like if we're naming things of when like the Apollo project, for instance, I don't understand why we go back to that sort of thing for naming purposes.
The thing is, like, when it comes to like Max and James and some of these other guys and other people that I know that work in these things, they're brilliant, like unbelievably brilliant. They love to solve a problem. They just put a problem in front of them. But while they are the problems, like things Max has built is, on the space station. They use it for corrective in this and for that and for classified.
For the audio listeners, Uber Barbie, I'm having a Mandela effect right now. To be fair, Ollie in my reality is ginger and a northerner. Now he's a southerner called Lee. Not only that, I do not have a romantic relationship with my sister.
Allegedly. Some things translate. Yeah, so they're not in charge of the departments. It's kind of funny when you meet and find out who runs these incredible. They're not necessarily scientists themselves, and they're definitely not the smartest guys in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And from a management standpoint and basis, there's a solid argument from that. You don't put the smartest guy in charge of things because the smartest guy will nitpick and go for perfection till death. And if he's smart enough, he can game it out and see all the bad scenarios, and it will make him fearful. Or if you get someone who's a little bit dumber, who's driven a little bit more ego, they will drive that goal across the line because they don't care. They want a pat on the back, and they will drive everyone else. That's why people like that end up in management. It's not a mystery. It's like, why'd that guy get there? Because they know he's dumb enough that he doesn't care if something bad happens as long as it gets done.
Do you think that's what Bob Lazar's job could have been?
What? Get stuff done?
Just adequately intelligent, expendable people.
I've said that. Yeah, he absolutely is. That's the majority of fields like that. In any of the labs, you have X number of government workers. It's always actually been small. And then you have all the contractors. Contractors make crazy money. They make 3 times what anyone else works.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still just a contractor, and they can be cut loose. They can be, they're really working one contract to another, and that contract can end at any time. When I met Max, he was working up towards where I live, and we had met through a confluence of events.
Confluence is a good word.
It's an appropriate word. Of events that led us together. And we've been friends now for years since. And again, I'm definitely not a fucking scientist. But we share other similar interests. And yeah. And through that, like the people that we both know, it's kind of crazy. Like I had a business at one time, one of my business partners, he had another side business that he did. And we based part of our business out of his machine shop. And his machine shop was fabricating pieces for what they called tabletop particle accelerators.
Mm-hmm.
And when they say tabletop, I don't mean it literally fits on a table. It's the size of a house. But it was wild. It was wild. When he was there, he had delivered 2 of them to France. But and again, he's another super smart guy. But and that business, he had other people that helped him get across the line. When I was in business with him, part of my thing was being the dumb guy that helps everyone get across the line. Well, if we do this, it'll go bad. Gives a shit. Let's keep moving. It'll be fine. Trust me. I know. Okay. Well, if he knows, I don't know. I don't even understand anything you just told me. Let's just keep going.
That's the terrifying thought, isn't it? The terrifying thought of that somewhere deep in an underground basement, there's people there. Because let's say it right. The inventor of the hydrogen bomb during the test, like, did he? Was it the quote that when it went off, he said, "May God have mercy on our souls"? Was that the quote? Was that the quote?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Like the.
So here's an interesting story again to explain that. While the super smart technical people will never really be let in all the way to things. And the reason for that can be very illustrated if you're familiar with the stories of enrichment of uranium for the United States program out at Oak Ridge facilities where that was done. They cleared out a small town, built a thing, called it literally the Secret City. And it was a secret. There's like pillboxes and stuff. If you're ever in America and for whatever reason you're in East Tennessee, go there. They have museums you can go to if you're a foreigner, and they have museums and a train ride you can go to if you're a U.S. citizen.
That's so strange.
I don't know. Maybe COVID shut it all down. I don't know. I haven't been out there in a long time. Anyway, the enrichment facilities that they had out there, they were having production issues, like meeting quota, because it was being ran by physicists or aspiring physicists, things like that. And they had little gauges and needles they had to watch. And one of these project managers came in, not a scientist. He's like, hey, we need to take people from the local population, uneducated people from rural Appalachia. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Gustav. From rural Appalachia, and we're going to train them to do this, and they're going to train them to do it fast. And they said, no, you can't do that because they don't understand the implications, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, if the needle goes too far this way, you press this button. If it goes too far this way, you press this button. As long as it stays between these 2 points, keep letting it run. And sure enough, they put a team of physicists together, and these women who had been trained for 3 weeks at the same machine, and the women smoked them. Smoked them. I mean, not only did they put out more volume, they put out like 100 times more volume. It was unbelievable. And they're like, why is it? Because every time the needle moved, the physicists would shut everything down and want to know why it moved. The women didn't care. They didn't even really understand what would happen if the needle went on either side. Because nobody told them. Nobody said, hey, if it goes through this far, it's going to react and everybody dies. Or if it goes here, you're going to get radiated. Everybody dies. They didn't tell them that. They just said, if it does this, do this. If it does this, do this. Hit this button and go. And they got really good at hitting the button. Like that was it. And after that, you started, even before that.
You're eliminating fear. That's the thing. You're eliminating fear. So it's like,
yeah,
if you can stick a scaffold board on your living room floor, and you can walk across that all day long, but you stick that scaffold board 50 feet in the air, and you are not walking across it.
No, yeah, it's a different animal. Yeah, there's because you understand the consequence. They didn't understand the consequence.
Just quickly, just me and Gene, before you disappear, I'm going to get to your comments in a second, because you had one towards Dave. So
yeah, what's up?
You're saying ta-ra, but the it's three-parter.
Oh boy.
So this was to you. Hey everybody, Dave, are you familiar with Alabama's cities and attractions? I live in Bessemer. And apparently I live on Indian burial mound that no one ever told me about.
They're all over the southeast. Most of them have been flattened for fields.
Then it was.
I've been to Alabama.
He basically said the same things no one's ever heard about, and then I only knew one person that told me about it. I've asked family and friends. That only person that knew about them. So, do you know about said burial mounds?
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
they are everywhere. My mom and stepdad had a farm, a rural farm. Doesn't matter where, I guess, but they had a hill behind their lot. My stepfather told me, he's like, no, that's an old burial ground, or that's what they believed it to be. And if you like these mounds, we believe them to be Indian burial mounds, but what we know is there's some kind of mounds and they're not natural to the area. You know what I mean? I totally believe that. Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what it was? I mean, was it Indian? Was it something pre-Indian? Was it? We don't know. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. When you start getting into mounds and structures that were in America before we started flattening everything. Because again, when people showed up, it was abandoned, right? Like if you've ever seen the different Mayan ruins, like when they were discovered, and then now that they've been cleaned up in the Yucatan, it's amazing they found them at all.
Yeah.
And when you have things that were built up with rocks or stone or earthen mounds, it's pretty rare in the South that they got left alone because things grow well here. We need a flat surface to grow them, so knock it down.
I was thinking about this the other day, because there was a follower. I think he might be maybe a listener. You might be listening to this. But he's been in Egypt. And he put some videos up on his Instagram of him walking around the pyramids. Mm-hmm. And it got me thinking about the cataclysm ideas of Hancock and stuff like that. And we've got these various sites all over the world which are like unbelievably old. I'm probably much older than what science gives them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if, in amongst these huge Earth changes that happen, are there key points on the Earth that, for some reason, are either it's like they're just more geologically stable, or when the shit hits the fan, these sites don't fuck up as much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's, I would argue, if the pyramids have been around so long, that if you live in Egypt and like the apocalypse comes, there's probably worse places you can be if those pyramids are still have been standing for so long.
Or maybe they have so much mass they can just kind of weather most things. You know, kind of like Hoover Dam. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not going anywhere. There's concrete in it that's still curing. You know, like, that's a wild thought. It kind of, if you go along those lines, you can't help but think that we are actually living in a post-apocalyptic society.
Yeah.
The most best advanced everything has already gone. What we have now is we are Mad Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? I think that goes along with the idea of progress, and never has the word progressive seemed so like shaky. My idea of progress used to be like, if things progress, they get better. Yeah, that's the way I always thought about it, up until maybe the last sort of 6 or 7 years, since like I said, since the word progressive is being co-opted for something else. Are things getting better? And that's something that's we keep making cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, if we are living in like the post-apocalyptic world of ancient humans, I'd argue things aren't getting better. I'd argue things by decade seem to be getting much worse.
It does feel like we've stalled out again. The fact that we're still using like combustion engines, you know, feels like we got stuck on the donkey cart again. Now we're going to be on the donkey cart for 1,000 years until someone comes up with something better. Like, if we're a post-apocalyptic society, what was there before? What was the catalyst that changed it? You know what I mean? And where did they go?
Well, that's a conspiracy theory, isn't it? The conspiracy theory that we're always told that, you know, it's you call it whatever you want, like New World Order, deep state, just military tech and beyond. We're always told that it's 50 years ahead of us. You know, we're always told, like, you know, it's what's in basements is 50 years ahead of what you've got. It's why we can entertain conspiracy theories like last week's Project Bluebeam, because without that 50-year ahead technology, those things are impossible. If you're using what we have knowledge of today, and the conspiracy theory with that is that all of this, we are 50 years ahead. It's all posturing. You know, like the robots, the dog soldiers that are going to come hunting everybody with like super intelligent AI.
I don't think that's going to happen though, man.
No. This is the thing. This conspiracy is that it's all posturing, because we have been rehashing technology from an older civilization, and we have now got to the point where the monkeys can't work out the Rubik's cubes anymore. So this is what we've got. Yeah, this is what we've got. We're stuck with it. So
there's a gap that we can't overcome.
Yeah. So it's why our consumer electronics, for instance, it's 15% lighter. It's you know, we can make it smaller, but now we're going to make it bigger again.
And we're going after these crazy toxic metals and minerals.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's I ponder that a lot. It more than I should, you know, when I'm spending a ridiculous amount of time in the car. But
it's one of the reasons I don't believe in the Tic Tac.
No,
is being a real thing, because I don't believe if that technology existed, that like private aerospace companies,
they would own it first. They own everything. They have everything. Yeah.
But they also wouldn't be pouring billions into solid fuel rockets and stuff like that. You know, if there was some sort of even if it's like this super tight like project, like government project that's been developed and used, and somehow it's managed to stay secret from private industry, people still talk to each other. So even if the technology didn't seep out, these people in private industry would be like, look, we've fucking cracked gravity over here. We're pouring billions into our technology that we've got now. It wouldn't happen. People wouldn't waste money and manpower like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it unless they, I don't know, because we can unless this, unless that. What if they don't have it a mass producible way? Like whatever they may or may not have, it may not be mass producible. You know what I mean? Or they can't have it, or maybe they didn't build it. Maybe they just got it working.
Yeah.
You know, like what was
even
the old
if you
movie
just got
from
it
the 80s?
working, like something.
Yeah.
So, but something that could move that fast, you could fucking rule the world with one. If you were the only person that had that, when you get inside that machine and press the go button, you're a god all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's an interesting one. It's a movie from the 80s, I believe it is. I'm gonna have to look it up here in just a second. But anyway, and if someone in chat knows it, please throw it up. It's got Dennis Hopper in it. He was a science teacher, and there's this kid who's really into cars, and he sneaks into a military decommissioning yard, like a bone yard, and is like looking for something, taking this girl on this date to find something that he can clean up and pass off for a science project. Falls into a hole, pulls out this thing. It's the engine from a UFO. And he cleans it up, charges it up, get it working, takes it in. Turns out that the way the engine works is it moves through time, space, and reality. Like everything's pliable, and everything starts spinning out and happening and getting crazy. And it's a ridiculous 80s movie where they're shooting a T-Rex with, M16s and stuff. it's in the, there's monsters from the future and, Mongols from the past. It's very interesting. Oh, not very interesting. It's a terrible movie.
Did you watch Bill and Ted? Is that what you watched?
No. Bill and Ted was actually, as far as cinema goes, was several steps above this. Yeah, but it makes me wonder. Like, okay, so let's run off the hypothesis that what they told Bob Lazar was correct, and that Bob Lazar isn't pulling everyone's leg. They found it, right? They somehow got it working. All right, give it enough time looking at something, pressing buttons, messing around, you can figure something out. Maybe that's all they can do. Like they can't replicate it, but they can turn it on. It's like if I somehow time traveled to 180, right? I have my cell phone. Picture camera, I'm walking around. People think I'm a wizard because I can create light and all that. And it has a solar or nuclear battery, right? It's going to last a long time. Okay. And then I go and I leave my phone. They're eventually going to figure out how to turn it on. They're eventually going to figure out the screen code to get in, right? Like enough time.
Yeah, if it's got a battery that's going to keep it open long enough.
If it's got a battery, it's going to keep it open. Yeah, like they're going to figure these things out. They're probably not going to take it too far apart, right? And it'll be like a magic totem or item. Give it 1,000 years, and someone finds it squirreled away that it was also found then. And these people are a little bit more advanced and like, wow, what is this microcircuitry? What is like? I could see that. And so they're able to do all these things, but then when they get to this special little nuclear battery in the back, I don't know. We can't make another one. We have that one. We can't make another one. If you ever saw, what was it, the Stargate Atlantis? Did you ever watch any of those?
Yeah.
So they were looking for those Z power cells or whatever, right? To power the big Atlantis station.
Remember.
Yeah, they didn't have enough of the power cells. With all the technology that they figured out how to operate all this stuff. But they can't replicate it. They can't build a new power, so they don't even know how that's done. They just know how to turn it on. They know how, like the girls enriching the uranium, they know what buttons to push. They don't understand what's behind it.
there's a good reason why that would be the case as well, because it's the same way you can hand a child an iPad, and if you leave the child long enough, it'll work how to use it. Because the it's one of the things we mastered with touchscreen phones and touchscreen devices is we created a really intuitive way to make this shit work. Yeah, I don't think people appreciate the brilliance of how an iPad works and how it kind of does exactly what you think it would do. You know, if you hold your finger on the icons long enough, you can move them around. If you press them, the things happen and the things open up. You know, it's very easy, and it's easier than like a computer 20 years ago. Let's say it's easier than probably anything we've ever created, like to use.
Yeah, as things get more advanced, they're easier.
Become easier to use. Look at what you can do with, like, we've spoke about ChatGPT before on this. It's really difficult to write. It's really difficult to write concise articles, but now we've got this technology there that, I mean, it's I'm not saying this is what we should replace people with. I'm not one of those ones. But if you want to go and if it's your passion to write articles about football, for instance, you can go and put the keywords in that you want, and then ChatGPT will fill in the gaps and add the punctuation, and bang, you're not really doing journalism, but you can pass it off as journalism.
Yeah, well, look at where we are with Teslas. They can drive themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
But try and repair it. Like yourself. Like talking about my plumbing thing today. Like, I'm familiar with these, and plumbing, you know, something always goes wrong, and there's always something wrong, more wrong than you thought was wrong, or more difficult. Same thing with not that, but like a Tesla. It drives itself. It's easy. You get in, it hits a button. You don't even have to turn a key. You don't have to hit a gas pedal. You press on a screen where you want to go, and it goes. Like it does it. And it'll keep you safe and record everything on the road. It's even easier to use, but to repair it, fix it, it's infinitely more complicated. You know, and that movie, by the way, was My Science Project from 1985.
Somebody put My Science Project up the top. I didn't realize what he was talking about. Yes, you did.
Oh, I can't see the chat.
Well done, you, sir.
JJ Clark, yeah.
Well done, you.
Another fan of old terrible sci-fi movie.
I've got another comment to bring up here because I've never heard of it, and you might have heard of it. Arazandi, would you credit rocket science to Wernher von Braun? Have you heard of the Cebu manuscripts from the 1500s? I have not.
Would I credit rocket science to Wernher von Braun? Yeah, I mean, publicly, sure. I'm not. I've never in any capacity worked for NASA. I just know people who work there. Like,
yeah,
that's it, man.
Let's.
I'm not smart enough to fill the gas tank on those people's cars. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, as it's publicly putting down, sure. Yeah, he's accredited by most people. There's a lot of other people that went into it, and I love a good conspiracy, and the conspiracies surrounding are even better. And Max actually worked with one of Wernher von Braun's buddies, which is hilarious when you think about it, because that guy was a Nazi, and Max is in fact black. So they had an interesting start, but the guy, I mean, Max is brilliant. You and people like that are, whatever their past feelings or current feelings or whatever, you got to respect brilliance. And the guy's brilliant. Yeah. So I would love to get Max on here talking about that. I don't know that he would do it though. Oh well.
Yeah, no, I'd like to get him back on the show. It was really interesting.
He'll come back on, but it makes sense. I mean, that's his life, right? Like he's providing for his life. He's still doing that, and I get it. The Cebu manuscripts, I am not familiar with that from the 1500s. Not at all.
I'm just just having a little look here. Romanian State Archives of Sibiu, Transylvania, collection of hundreds of merits and hundreds of meters of manuscripts, some form volumes, but it's not saying what they're about.
Well, I will definitely check it out, Arrows
Yeah,
Andy.
it seems like a wormhole, a rabbit hole that we don't really have time to go over in the middle of the show.
Maybe next Sunday.
Maybe next Sunday, but yeah, it's cool. I'm glad he brought it up because it's always cool finding new things that you haven't heard of. That's it. I mean, it's really weird though, isn't it? There's so much out, but it feels like so much is disappearing.
Yeah, I mean, and so like the Werner von Braun thing, the one thing we know that the Nazis were after is they had a massive archaeological team. They were going around the world looking for every myth, every story. Like what is their real artifacts? Why were they doing that?
Yeah.
And the U.S. to a certain extent has definitely done that as well. So maybe that's true. Maybe those Sibiu manuscripts, if they're talking about, and I looked at like motion and propulsion and things like that. Yeah, maybe they picked it up and they're like, "Hey, we can build this. This is blueprints or whatever." I can't wait to look it up. I've never heard of it, so I'll definitely probably dive all week into it.
Get all the way fucked. Sibiu manuscripts. Yeah, describes. I take it that's going to say multi-stage rocket.
That is a multi-stage rocket.
That's fucking wild.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Good one there, Arrows Andy. Man, see,
this is a whole
people like that need shows, man. Not
you do, yeah.
Like
100%. You
guys listen to people like us talk. And you know about shit like this. What the hell, man? I should be watching your show. Oh, I didn't know about that. I gotta look into that.
I tell you what, do you know what that? Oh, that's from the Vorik manuscripts. That one. That's a show on its own. I find them really interesting. But yeah, no, I'll have a look at.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dive into that
because that's pretty fucking crazy, isn't it?
Well, then I'm gonna jump and say Werner probably just ripped it off from someone else. He was a smart guy who could follow the plans because those look like plans to me.
See, like we said before, I mean, maybe this is, maybe we're just running on the fumes of what came before us.
Yeah, and once again, I am not a rocket scientist, man. I'm genuinely not. I just
no, I work for the CIA.
Allegedly. Gotta be honest, I'd probably be a lot closer to what I do. They used to be. But no, I don't do that either. Allegedly. But I just happen to know people that are, man, just because we had similar, like all the people that I know is based off similar interests, and my interests are different, and you meet different kind of people, and the location that I'm based out of and have been in the past, we're just damn, I do sound like I work for the CIA. Never mind. I just know I know other people. Like that's it. It's I'm a friendly guy, kind of.
So, I mean, could that explain like what we seem to be going through at the minute?
Rediscovery.
Well, I think there's a rediscovery. There does seem to be, and like I was never one for jumping on this.
That manuscript right there just sold me that my joke of we live in a post-apocalyptic time.
Yeah.
We do live in a post-apocalyptic time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you look at what's going on in the control, or at least what seem to be the plans of control that are being laid for people. If you were, let's go all in. If you were the Illuminati or the New World Order,
well, this will be easy to answer.
Yeah, and and
gotcha. If all right,
so you all through like I think the 90s, for instance, which I I forever long for. We're a really good example of a time, especially in the West, where we were pacified by entertainment and bedazzled by merchandise, which we could go out and buy, take home, be entertained with until the new one came out, and then we could give that one back, and we would get some new entertainment for ourselves. So if this has been the release of, like we say, repurposed older technologies which were thrown out there just for busy work for us, what do you do when you run out of the things that were keeping your mice happy?
Depends on what part of the experiment you're in.
Well, what if it's not an experiment? What if it was just a case of, right, well, we can control the masses with meaningless entertainment, but what happens when the entertainment runs out? What do you do then? If you want to keep control.
Yeah. If that's the case, you don't run out of entertainment.
But what
it's
if you?
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard to. Yeah, it's not that hard to keep making shows, for instance, and keep making movies. But we're also massive consumers as well.
Yeah, they've turned us into gluttonous pigs, and continuing to keep that trough full is difficult. You keep them happy. That's all you have to do. You don't have to keep them, ridiculously high and inundated off your consumerism drug. You just have to keep them so they don't want to walk away.
Yeah.
They don't have to be super high.
Keep it desirable.
Or you're already addicted. You know what I mean? That's what never doesn't get me with the dystopia theory. Like we're going to get rounded up, tagged, like, and stuck in pods. It doesn't make sense because you would get revolt. Like look at France right now. Yeah,
that's come from because people are worried about pensions. Now imagine in that. So absolutely. But now imagine what would happen if you decided, no, what we're going to do is we're going to round you up. You just can have a room. Yeah. You can have your little smart room with your TV and stuff in. That'll be fine. You just go there and then you can go to work and go back there. People would go crazy.
This is the thing. Like, man, how do I say it without sounding really dark? How many people do you need?
This is the thing.
How many people do you need? And the thing that is never balanced out with me is they go out of their way to keep everybody, or a lot of people. They genuinely do. They have whole services kept up with people who, for the most part, can't keep up with society. They can't make the modern world work. So we go out of our way to keep them up. It's the right thing to do. It's a humane thing to do. Okay. You're 100% right. I'm just saying that if we're going along the dystopian order and that's someone's actual fear, why are you going through this? Yeah. Because if you're going on the dystopian order, you clearly don't care. And if you don't care, why are you going through the thing to subsidize their very existence?
I think especially given the atrocities we'll do to people that aren't our people.
Yeah.
Or
our people. We don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know I get what you mean. I mean
so that tells me it comes from somewhere else. Or this is 100% here. BSP kind of going out on our own here is it tells us that the people we think in charge are not in charge. And whatever the game, they want people, lots of them, doing their normal lives, doing their normal things. And I've never been able to wrap my mind around why. Because if you and I'll stop there because it definitely gets darker in that thought. And I'm not advocating anything. It's just the thought experiment goes to dark places, and you have to be comfortable with that. And I get that on this forum, people aren't in general. Like, there's not that many of us who are that twisted in the mind.
Yeah.
Does it go along profession?
Does it go along the realm of
it gets dark.
People resources?
No. Just see, that's the thing is really when you look at it, when you look at it, resources, we're consuming too many resources. It's not true. What is true is that people are inconvenient and they're an annoyance to the people who are in charge and have power, and there's enough technology to support them, and they only need X number of people to really keep things working. They don't have to keep everyone else around. Too many breeders.
Yeah.
Don't need them. Life would be easier without them in a lot of ways.
But for some reason they're kept.
But for some, not only are they kept, protected, fed, given a hand up, like social systems are bent over backwards. There's whole psyops based around getting you to care about someone else, so that doesn't, it's weird. And there's a movie that was released because I think that whoever the masters are, whoever the owners are, whatever reason, there's things trickled in media, right? Maybe I'm way off base. Just I'm a crazy guy on the internet with all the other crazy guys on the internet.
Yeah.
You ever seen the movie Dark Skies about the alien abductions?
Yes. Yeah.
And they go and talk to the old man character about abductions or aliens, and they think he's crazy, and he starts going through the questioning list, and their faces are just kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is us. And she's like, why us? What makes us special? And he looks and goes, you're not. I'm sorry, I know that's not what you're in here. You're not special. There's nothing unique. He's like, they are for all. It's like, what would you understand? He's like, what would someone in a white lab coat possibly say to a rat? And nothing. It's so far beyond us. It's so far beyond whatever's going on. And when I get fatalist and I get dark, that's kind of where I float to. It's like whatever is going on is so beyond what I'm capable of comprehending, what anyone is capable of comprehending. Those who understand enough, like say leaders or presidents, that's why they get white hair. It's why they age so horribly. It's why they're wrecked under that kind of pressure. They find something out. You know what I mean? They find something out. Maybe not all of them, but enough of them.
Yeah, I've often thought that the like leadership, like people always put it down to like the pressures of leadership, which is why these people look wrecked after a few years. And I've never really believed that.
I don't either, because I know several CEOs, important people, and important people like that. And again, it's different than running a country. So tomato, avocado, they're not the same. I get that. But leadership of billionaire-esque people, it's a lot. It's kind of the same. Yeah. And there's enough of that ego and drive and that self, like this belief in predetermined destination that they are going to succeed at everything, regardless. Like it's this obsession. Like if you think any of those people at the top are having fun, they're not. Their only fun and joy comes from the fight. You know what I mean? And if there's not one, they make one. But for the vast majority of them anyway, leadership isn't like, they don't get wrecked. Those are people who take care of themselves, people who are intelligent, articulate. Like anyone who was leading up to say be the president of the United States, they were in some kind of major position of, like even if they're an elected position and you're a senator or you're whatever for X number of years, what really changed between that and president? Like, oh, now everything's on my shoulder. Really? That level of arrogance and ego? Or did someone sit you down and say, hey, you're read it enough. This is what's really going on. You're not going to do anything you said you were going to do. This is how the world really works. And then you come out changed.
I would argue the CEO of the big company, which has got like thousands of employees underneath them making billions of dollars a year. I would argue the repercussions for him fucking something up are worse,
far more personal too,
personally to him, because if there's anything we know about politicians now, there is absolutely zero accountability for mistakes.
No, man, shit doesn't stick to them. It doesn't stick to them at all.
No.
So that's the thing that's never held me up. But another friend that I have, he works in a job where he finds out not current information, but past information of bad things, like shit that's like, oh my God, really? And I've seen it wear on him. It's not leadership. It's not the role. It is a normal human that is burdened under information that, it's probably good that not everyone knows.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone needs to know that. You know why? Because you wouldn't sleep. or you wouldn't live where you live, you wouldn't act like you act, you'd freak out. And the reality is it's under control. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, it's done. But these are the facts, and we have to, like the giver, right? There's certain information that needs to be passed to people who bear that as witness, right? That is the giver, like in the novel. That's his real job, is he bears the weight of choices. That's what they do. And not just information and technology, but of the consequence, right? The human toll. It's not something everyone can take, nor should they. But even then, he's faring better than a lot of those.
Right. Well, imagine this, like, and this is probably, especially given the company we keep on the in the chat and our like listeners. This is probably a pretty good example of that. Let's say you go deep into the like we've mentioned it before, the Italian breaded cheese topped fence conspiracy, or the
I like that. That's really good.
or the or the Ford Chrome conspiracy. You go into that, and if you do, like, if you did what I did with that stuff, that changes you, and I've seen it with people that I've done this sort of thing with, that have literally like closed down, just gone like that. Well, I'm not doing this anymore, because that's, it's there. And then there's the other type of people that if you present that even as a theory to them, I mean, I've shown people, I don't know, I don't think it used to be on YouTube. It's probably very difficult to find on YouTube now, but there was a Hungarian news broadcast, like they're like Hungary's 60 Minutes thing, talking about the Chrome situation and the use of it between like Western elites and Hollywood actors and stuff like that, and the like the Panda Eyes thing.
I feel like that's a Rumble conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. to go deep into it, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that was on YouTube for a while. I've shown that to people, and they've just completely closed down on it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's there. So right. So if you're given something, especially if you're given something in a foreign language, you have the ability to just close down and go, right, well, you've given me that. A wall's gone up. I'm never going to address it again. I'm never going to think about it again, and I'm going to go on with my fucking life.
Yeah, I may never talk to you again, because if I talk to you, I'm gonna have to remember this moment.
I've got a funny story about someone that did that. A friend of mine's how can I do this? I was at nothing to do with it, but I was around a situation where something bad happened for a friend, but he wasn't there. And I was just a reminder of what had happened. And that person never spoke to me the same again, because I reminded him of what this thing was. That's the best I can do without it being too personal for somebody.
Yeah.
But now imagine the breaded fence conspiracy. But so, like you said, but someone's took you into a room, and you don't have the ability to close off. You don't have the ability to just put a wall up, because not only are you being given this not as a conspiracy theory, this is being presented to you as 100% cast iron fact, and then someone turns around and said, "Oh, by the way, yeah, it's partly your shit now. You've got to deal with this."
Yeah. Not only do you have to deal with it, you have to follow these rules. Why? Because you don't have a choice. This isn't a choice.
And that kind of dips back into what we talk about, scientific experimentation and the like CERN, Large Hadron Colliders, that sort of stuff, and these things which we're told are dangerous things. So if we're told, and I don't believe the I think the ritual stuff is really weird. So
Oh, yeah.
unless it's some sort of weird suicide cult, which I and not only a suicide cult that wants to not
Going
only is
Heaven's
that,
Gate, huh?
but imagine a global one that wanted to take every fucker with them.
So like Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, but
You know their website's still up.
Is it really?
Yep.
That's some management. I suppose if you paid for the servers.
Yeah, they're waiting around for a Hale Pop to come back around in 50,000 years.
Wouldn't that be fascinating? How long is it until that comes back around?
I have no idea.
I know we won't see it, we will be long dead.
I gotta be honest. I rarely get out for astronomical events like that. Like, you could see this in your yard tonight, or I could sleep.
Do you know? It's that thing where people turn around and say, "Yeah, but it's not going to happen for another 500,000 years." And you go, "Yeah, that's great, but there's going to be another thing that's not going to happen for another 500,000 years."
Yeah.
What about all of the things I missed, which I'm never going to see? It's you can't see all the shit.
The cool thing that I was on is when we had the solar eclipse, the 100% solar eclipse that went over, like it went over where I live, so I was just able to stand in my backyard.
I remember
it was
that.
perfectly, yeah. And we were like, that was weird, man.
Yeah,
that was weird. Like, all the animals got quiet, everything goes still, and you just like, ooh, I don't feel right. You're looking up, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel good at all. This is, ooh, when's this over? Another 50 seconds? No shit. Oh, I don't like this. Whew. And then it starts to break, and you're like, oh, wow. It's like I went to college and I'm still panicking like this. That doesn't make sense at all. I mean, I went, I was technically there.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If there's stuff out there that if we knew all the things, is it just some stuff that would stop civilization? That would just make people go,
so.
"Fuck this." Well, it's one of the reasons.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why I think, because I believe there is, regardless of whether it's a religious thing or not. I don't believe this is our last stop, and I never really have done. If there's any, if there was any information for what happens to us after we close our eyes for the last time, you'd have to keep it quiet. Because could you imagine, could you imagine if you found out, just over the weekend, oh yeah, after this is all a bit rubbish. No one's really got enough money. Tomatoes are quite expensive. But yeah, if you just keep doing your shit, because we kind of need to keep this stuff going, everything will be fine. Like, you'll go to utopia. It'll be like that bit in Star Trek Next Generations where they go inside the Nexus. That's what you get. You get infinity to play about in as you please.
I wonder if we're in someone else's right now.
But this is the thing. People would be like stubbing their toe and going, "That really hurts," and then throwing themselves off a bridge to get rid of the pain. You would just check out if you knew, utopia was behind the door.
That's saying it's a guarantee. What if it's not?
It. Oh well, that's it. Yeah.
What if there's a filtering? What if this is part of the filtering process?
Yeah.
The thought that I had is that, why some people talk about past lives and others don't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some people are the NPCs that are forced to just so instead of, creating constantly new characters, you're just recycling these characters. That's why all these people look the same as these older pictures. Mm-hmm. Their characters just getting recycled while you move through the game.
Maybe.
Like when you play some of those games, like the character on level 1 looks just like the character on level 7, but they have a different name and they have a different job. But this is the same dude. Like, you gave him a hat. You know what I mean? Billy the Butcher is now Joe the Trader.
So Bobby said, "Infinity sounds boring to me." I know, yeah, but I don't just mean infinity like going on forever. Like, it would be
an infinity of your own creation.
The ability to be at all places at all times.
That sounds like a headache.
Maybe. Stephen A. Lee, Blackstone Paranormal. I can say only on thing about it. I think he meant one. The soul is eternal. I know you will not believe me, but
Stefan.
thanks.
It's a good name.
Mm.
I believe you. I definitely think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a meat suit, man. My personal beliefs are different. That's something I don't know. Maybe people should know. Is I'll play devil's advocate for anything, dude. I'll argue points that I don't believe and I think are nonsense. It drives my wife crazy.
You were designed for Twitter.
That's why I have so many other accounts.
This is not conspiracy related in the slightest, but there is we have a road like it goes across our mountain, and it gets really foggy, like really foggy up there, and it's all blind corners essentially. And there was a guy up there riding a push bike over the mountain. So you've got cars 40 mile an hour across the mountain is a reasonable speed, a sensible speed as well in those conditions. I think you can do that. So you've got a guy on a bicycle pedaling at 10, 15 miles an hour, and then cars coming around blind corners at 40 mile an hour in mist that you can't see 6 foot in front of you.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be here anymore. That's
no, fine. he's been a prick. And
no, he's done. He's done with the game. It's like if I had some kind of crazy inoperable bone cancer that's gonna die. You know what hobby I take up tomorrow? Wingsuit flying in Norway. Because I'm not gonna off myself, but I'm gonna live some life, and I'm gonna do the most dangerous thing I can think of. What is that? Is that a triple diamond course? Yeah, I'm doing that one. That's amazing. How many of these have you done? None. keep the parachute, buddy. I'm skimming out on the water. I'll be fine. How disappointed would you be if you made it?
But so a police van tried to persuade this guy 3 times to get in the van with them. So look, throw it in the back, not any trouble, we'll just drop you home. We'll drive you into town where there's no mist. And he gave it the whole, no, it's my right, I can do this.
He knows what he's about.
Yeah.
No, but that's die today.
But that's fine. But what really upset me was the people that were defending the prick that was trying to that was essentially putting other people at risk. And you go, shit,
he's on a bike, bro. He's really only putting himself at risk.
Oh, I don't know.
Everybody else is in a vehicle.
Yeah,
except for the motorcycle guy. That's not cool.
The thing is though, if you come across that, you're going to try and swerve out of the way, which is going to put you on the wrong side of the road, which could take the Joneses out.
Swerve. Have you seen the bumper I have on my truck? You don't buy a bumper like that and swerve.
We're not allowed those bumpers. But it was watching people argue for the indefensible, and you just go, "Oh right, oh it's fucked." It's people are fucking idiots.
No, it's his right. Like if he wants to die today, man, let him.
But the only thing that's somebody else a murderer.
Well, he's not a murderer. The guy's committed suicide. The dude's just driving. And if anything, he should be unhappy that he's an unwilling participant and maybe sue that guy's estate. I didn't sign up to be fucking Dr. Kevorkian here, okay? This wasn't what I set out for this morning. So if he was a considerate suicidal bicyclist, he would, leave 50,000 pounds in to whoever offs him. Suddenly there's a lot more traffic on that road. Lee's up there twice a day.
and just
60
endless mangled cyclists that you've had to check through. Go,
is that the right one?
That's not the one. Sorry. But yeah, I do. I think it makes you wonder. Like I think that would be the best thing, wouldn't it? That the best outcome of all this is that the future is so good they have to keep it from you because you'd want to get there quicker. That's like the best scenario for the world right now.
I often wonder if maybe the elite or Illuminati or whatever you want to call them that are in charge. They know that. But to get where they are, they've sold out so much that once they get there, it's like, hey, these are the mysteries of the universe, and it's fucking amazing for all these people, except for you. You remember the Ford Chrome and everything else it took you to get here? Yeah, you're here for eternity now. What? Here? Yeah. You're gonna come right back.
The people that seem to know the shit, or at least the powerful and rich, like elite people, they don't seem to want to go anywhere, do they? Wasn't the Rothschild that just died on like his 8th heart?
Something like that.
I mean,
or maybe he needs to, fucking ease off the cholesterol. Maybe you don't need bacon with every meal. That's bullshit. You need bacon with every meal. I don't even believe in the cholesterol thing.
Imagine that. Imagine having that much money that you could go through like 10 hearts.
Well, they're only $250,000 in China.
Terrifying, isn't it? Did you see that video that the Chinese journalist put up on Twitter? I think I sent it to you. Of all the bodies, like the chart. Probably the less descriptive, the better around here. But yeah, that was.
Europe has private hospitals.
Yeah.
I went to one.
Eastern Europe, I think, is also good for buying new parts.
So's Colombia, Mexico,
Cuba. Life's cheap.
Life is cheap. That's what no one understands. Life is cheap. Yeah.
Maybe that's why there's so many of us.
Maybe we taste good. There's a harvest coming.
Oh.
Got to leave some of the breeding stock behind and take the rest.
It would be the only reason for McDonald's and the promotion of McDonald's, because it tastes awful. It's horrible food. It makes you feel sick. You wake up the next day after you've eaten McDonald's, you feel stupider. It's really bad. The only way that makes sense is if to the aliens it's fucking seasoning. To them, McDonald's is like salt and pepper.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You can't just shove cayenne pepper up a cow's ass. It's a lot better if you can trick them into eating it.
He's
marinating.
Like fucking corn-fed chickens, aren't we?
Yeah. Here's more beer. Have more beer. Why? You're marinating.
I don't. Oh no! Oh, I was being all smoky because I don't eat McDonald's, but oh no!
Yeah, you're marinating.
I drink the good shit as well. I drink like cask ales.
You're grade 5A Wagyu, man. Wagyu.
Oh no, I am Wagyu as well.
Yeah. They're fighting over you,
there's gonna be some fucking marbling in me.
So what you got to do is start doing massive amounts of psychedelics now. That way, when they eat you, they're gonna have an abrupt bout of consciousness and feel bad about it. That's all you can hope for.
But the Stephanie Lee should see the video of the lady that had the McDonald's burger and fries from the 80s and still look alive. But the pepper in the bag is almost done. Yeah, that picture of the
shrink.
It's so weird. It's like what? And the funny thing is, like that's then.
Yeah,
like that's back in the 80s when there was probably some animal in it. Imagine now.
Yeah. No, man, it's there's like we don't do the fast food thing. There are like fast food-esque restaurants we'll do, because we're kind of big, we got a lot of kids.
You strike me as a Denny's person.
Denny's. When we were on the West Coast, we did go to Denny's. Yeah.
I went to Denny's once when I was in America. Like, we went there and I looked at the thing, but I'd hit that point where
there's no Denny's around me though.
No, but we were in Florida, and it can be quite difficult to find some vegetables if you're if you're doing the American holiday maker thing. As you see, he's pretty big on carbs. not
love 'em.
not so hot on greens.
We're huge on
And,
protein too.
Yeah, and
What'd you have for
I'm
breakfast,
big
Dave?
on frying
Roast.
as well. I'm not a big fryer of foods, especially deep fried stuff.
I live in the South, man. Everything here is deep fried.
Yeah.
That's just life. Good way to add calories for no apparent reason. Yeah. It's delicious though.
I
It's delicious.
remember going into Denny's and looking at the menu and just thinking like, I'm almost convinced even the fucking tea is deep fried in here.
We had figured it. That's actually what's in here right now is sweet tea.
Sweet deep fried tea.
Yeah, with ice and cold.
But it's approaching the witching hour for the podcast. I think we had some fun with the Mandela Effect, and then completely fucking disappeared.
I like that our subjects last 8 minutes in the beginning. They're done.
Yeah, it's more of it's more for the thumbnail, and it's kind of a hook to try and get people in.
I wish there was a better way to keep up with the comments, because I like some of the stuff that everyone comments, because I was like, oh, I've never heard of that. I'm gonna look that up. You should have a show.
I've still got the Cebu Manuscripts thing.
I got it on my phone, bro.
In my history.
Yeah.
That's something I'm definitely gonna look in. I think we should do an episode on the Lee should learn how to say it first. Manuscripts, because they're fucking interesting.
Never heard of them. I'm down.
Have you not? Really? Oh wow! Right. Basically, some guy found a book. The
good story.
End of. Yeah.
Thanks, Lee. Fucking master of details over here.
I can get an hour and a half out of that.
Weaver of stories. Guy found a book. Oh,
so basically, said book has got an unknown language in it, which has been looked at by cryptographers. If that's the right word, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still yet to be deciphered. It has like elaborate drawings of like fauna and things that don't appear to be from here. It's really cool. Like and it's just it's a complete like it's so beautifully drawn as well. You know, like the the calligraphy and stuff.
I'll look into that in the Cebu thing this week. We should make that next Sunday.
Oh, maybe we could just do like a inconvenient manuscripts episode next week.
We should get Ted Kaczynski's in there too.
We'll call it an inconvenient truth for the algorithm.
I mean, Ted Kaczynski's manifesto.
What's that? Oh, is that the Unabomber?
The Unabomber? He wrote a manifesto.
I've read his manifesto, and I do not condone the act of bombing things, but fuck, man,
he's making some points. He's making some points. I mean, I'm not with his methodology, but I'm saying the guy's. He's making some points.
Yeah, see if he hadn't been like the Unabomber and he was like the uni, let's sit down and talk about this. This
is my dark enjoyment that I have with other friends in different chats. Is we'll be doing things and I'll throw out a quote, and they're like, "Damn, that's a good quote. That's exactly what I'm talking about." It's like, who quoted that? Theodore J. Kaczynski. Unabomber? Like, yeah. You quoting the Unabomber? Yes. He's like, you know, my phone gets cloned by the FBI. He's like, yeah, I do. Here's a giant penis too. FBI can eat my ass.
My favorite thing for people that are, like it's not quite as important as the FBI, but my friend,
important.
No, but my friend, his like bank transfers transactions are constantly looked at to make sure there's nothing going in and out that shouldn't be going in and out. And whenever I've had to repay money to him, I have used references like Rent Boys refund. And so I always like the idea that someone sees it and go, oh fuck, not only is he getting Rent Boys, he wasn't happy with the service.
Overcharge.
I might stick a couple of Epstein Island receipts in for him as well next time. Thanks very much for listening. If you stuck with us for this thing, that's been great. You know, the stuff's good. I like doing the podcast. I like that you guys like listening to the podcast. I'm not filling for time here because I'm looking for the video. Bye. Do 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 do.